What's up? Welcome back. Calories with Hydro Mind. Today, I'm going to take you through a full day of the Waterman Elite routine. So what I do every single day to make sure I'm staying in shape for surfing. What I really want you to notice here is how simple this is and how time efficient it is. It's not a long workout. It's not complicated. You don't need a ton of equipment. You only need one piece of equipment that you can see right there. And that's the power of trading general fitness for specific fitness. So if your goals are specific, like you want to surf for long sessions, you want to catch tons of waves, you want to surf the best swells, you want to make your pop-up a non-issue, the training becomes very narrow, which means there's only a few things you got to do, and it gets done really, really fast. So the biggest thing's done in the shortest amount of time. So if you're into that, if you're a busy person, you're struggling to progress your surfing, you got busy with kids, busy with work, don't live that close to the ocean, you have summer swells are down, anything, you can have great surf progression with just a few simple things that are done a few times a week. And I'll show you exactly how I do it myself. So number one is stretching. I always put it this way. Stretching is like the fountain of youth. It's so important that it's the very first thing we address with every single person who comes into it. And it's absolutely changed my life. So with the fountain of youth thing, I mean, if you forget to do your stretches, you will begin to feel older. But if you do your stretches every single day, you start to feel younger. Your body moves better. You're in less pain. Your mood improves. And of course, your surfing performance improves. It affects your paddling. It affects your breathing. It affects your pop-up. Everything. It's so important. You can't outperform tight muscles. Like all the paddle training in the world won't fix your pop-up if you got tight hips. So heavy focus on that. For me, so if you're really, really tight and you're feeling discouraged, one thing that we do all the time for everyone is stretch testing. So everyone goes through a series of head-to-toe stretches, and they do them all to identify their personal tight spots and imbalances. And then that test, the ones that are tight, become their personal stretching routine. Now, people always come to me and they're like, man, I had no idea I was that inflexible, and they're kind of discouraged. And I always like to say that stretching, when you find these tight spots, it's like finding a gold mine. You still got to mine the gold, but you know exactly where it is. So if you put your focus on these really, really specific spots, bam, you could see the biggest leaps in progression of your whole life, man. And I know for me, so I was an athlete my whole life, played every single sport at a high level, and I was so inflexible. I never touched my toes growing up. And all my coaches and trainers would always say, like, you are going to injure yourself if you don't start stretching. But I was doing so good in all the sports that I played. I was like, no, I don't. I don't have to stretch. Everything's fine. When I got into my 20s, I started getting hurt all the time. My back, my hips, all that stuff. So out of pure necessity to stop being in pain, I started stretching. And I couldn't touch my toes. I couldn't do any of the stretches that you see me do now. So I started at 0 for everything. But now I can do all the stretches. And now I'm never in pain. And now it feels great. So I like to impress that upon everyone. So the way stretch testing works is you only do the stretches that are tight for you, which means the stretches that are loose, you can eliminate because you only stretch tight muscles. And for me, it changes over time. My hips and my hamstrings, I've been stretching them for a decade, and they start tightening up every morning. I got to do it every day, no matter what. I sometimes do it 2-3 times a day. But my upper body, I used to have really bad like forward head, forward shoulder posture, but I worked on that so much that it's improved so much I don't have to stretch those as much anymore. So the cool thing about that is time efficiency. So instead of doing a giant generalized yoga for surfing routine that everyone does, it's very narrow, it's very personalized, and gets done so it's the big results in a short amount of time. Number 2 is what I call functional flows. This is about warming up the body, warming up the breath. And functional movements means using your body the way it's designed to. But in surfing is very unique. You're supposed to use your whole body, all your muscles, off balance all the time. So we do a little bit of simulation from that, using as many joints as possible, as many muscles as possible, while breathing deeply, which really warms up the body, warms up the muscles, and allows you to do these surfing workouts without injury. This is a great surfing warm-up as well. So I do these every single day, and it's a high rep thing too, so it's great for muscular endurance. It makes the body feel young. Then we go right into the most important thing you will ever learn from me, is the paddle work. I always like to say it like this. If you want to catch one wave, you're going to have to paddle. But if you want to catch tons of great waves, you have to have great paddle strength. Paddle simulation is so powerful because it simulates the paddle stroke perfectly. So it builds perfect paddle technique. It makes your body think that it's surfed every single day. So every time you get in the water, it's like you never left. And the convenience factor matters a ton. I don't know if you're like me, but if there's friction between you and anything, the chances of me doing it go down, right? So if I had to go to the gym, I've had to pack my bag, get in the truck, drive down there, get changed, work out, get changed, driving the truck, get home, shower. Man, that's this much time spent for this much time working out. Like you can see, I got them hanging up right there. This is my computer I'm filming on right now. I put a podcast on right here. I work out right there. It's in my basement. 20 minutes, boom, I'm done. I feel like I surfed a 2-hour session. So a few things that does. It extends your session length so you can surf longer without getting tired. That immediately increases your wave count. It decreases the amount of time it takes you to recover. Instead of resting for minutes, get your rest time down for seconds. And the reason that's so powerful is because when you're exhausted, that's when you make bad decisions. That's when you miss waves. That's when you get in the way. So when you can get that rest time down, boom, take a couple deep breaths, have the power to start going again. It makes you feel powerful out there because you're in control of your body. Another thing is doing these static holds. And what that does is it gives you another gear. So even though your muscles feel tired, you still have the power to keep going. So it increases your ability to work through tiredness, which is really, really cool because there's going to be times when you've held your breath a ton, you've already paddled out past the break, the best wave of the year comes to you. That means you still got the gas to get on that wave. So it's a very powerful thing. And then the posture correction, the technique perfection. One thing about paddling, you can like instantly spot a beginner surfer because they don't know they're paddling wrong. They're just using their body completely wrong. We teach us paddle efficiency. So it's using as little muscle as possible. So instead of twisting and bending, using like burning tons of energy, you slip through the water using as little energy as possible. And when you do it properly, it feels incredible. You're filling yourself up with oxygen. You're spending very little of it. So it's a recharge mode while you're moving through the ocean, which is like massively different than most people are experiencing the ocean where they're exhausted all the time. So next we go into the breath training. Breath training is aiming at what I call oxygen efficiency. And what that means is making each oxygen molecule last longer and being able to do more with it because you're constantly duck diving, wiping out, being caught inside, holding your breath over and over. So you're meant to do this endurance sport while you're forced to hold your breath over and over. So we simulate that in training. It's in the paddle training, it's in the functional flows, it's in the warm up. So that will give you a steady increase of oxygen efficiency over time. So you'll always be getting better. But these workouts, this one I call emotional intercept, gives you a giant spike in it. So we do it once a week. And it's about being over prepared. So it's meant to lower the oxygen in your blood and raise the CO2 from home. You do it laying on the floor. And what you train yourself to do is become comfortable and normalize that state. So when it happens to you in the ocean, when you're forced to hold your breath for a long time, it's not a shock to your body. So it doesn't trigger fear and emotion. And fear and panic. I call it emotional intercept because it's using focus and technique and training to intercept those negative emotions before they happen. So in a heavy swell, a 10-second breath hold would be a lot. That's like a really, really long hold down. 15 would be insane. We train our members to be able to hold their breath under stress for 1 minute. So if you can do that, you're way over prepared. So you don't want to have just enough in the tank to be able to surf a certain size swell. You want to be way over prepared. So when you're down here surfing this swell, man, you're way up here as far as fitness goes. And that just changes the experience of surfing. It goes from fear and panic, which is not fun, to control, to focus and technique, which is fun. And that's what progresses surfing. Next, we move into surfing patterns. Very unique things that people struggle with, very common. Pop up, duck dive, balance, rotational movement, pumping, all those things are very, very specific to surfing and very unnatural if you have like just a modern lifestyle. So this is more like a buffet style. You just pick what you need. So if you struggle with your pop-up, you can add this in. Struggle with a duck dive, you can add this in. I don't do much pop-up work anymore. My pop-up hasn't been an issue for a long time since I've addressed it years ago. So I mostly do balance stuff, core exercise stuff that's really going to improve performance and explosion and reaction time and all that kind of stuff. And so that's the end. So what's really, really cool about that is it gets so much done in a short amount of time. A couple of things I want to highlight, again, are convenience. Being done at home, I like to say convenience is king. The more convenient it is, the more likely you are to get it done. If you can do it in front of your TV where you live, it's so much easier. And I know lots of people don't even like to go to gyms. So having one piece of equipment, you don't need anything fancy, one piece of equipment, the rest is done with body and breath. So that's really, really cool. Time efficiency. So we select a specific resistance with these bands to simulate the resistance of the water plus a few extra pounds. So we aim at an endurance style workout, but because of the resistance we choose, it's more condensed. So if you can imagine how you feel from a 2-hour workout, the exercise you get, we condense that down to 20 minutes, but with the low oxygen training as well. So let's say with typical cardio, like let's say you go for a run, a 2-hour run. It's at the end of the run where you're really pushing your cardio system. Your heart's pumping, your lungs feel like they're burning, all that stuff. When you do low oxygen training, you cut off the oxygen in the beginning. So instead of waiting for that finish line in 2 hours, that finish line rushes towards you and you find your limits in 5 seconds. So I call it new age endurance because you don't have to go for those long death march cardios. You're pushing your cardio system in seconds and then training your body to recover quickly. So it's, again, time efficient. And then focusing on the stretches that matter to you, you eliminate the others, time efficient. So that's why we get all this done about 20 minutes a day. Some people can do it in 30. Some people who are very motivated like to just double it and do it 45 minutes. I can tell you that I can guarantee I'm in the best surfing shape of my life. I'd never ever work out past 45 minutes. 30 is kind of my zone that I like the best. And sometimes I'll go for a walk at night, which is an additional thing, but not necessary for the results I'm talking about. So I hope you can see that whatever your situation is, if you got tons of kids, you're super busy with the family, you got a career that is insane, you don't have time to go to the gym, all these things are piling up, the responsibilities of life. I like to say the being a provider is taken away from your passion. This will definitely work for you. We got people who are pilots that live in hotels, people who work on ships and boats that are away from home for months at a time, guys who work in camp, girls who are teachers who are at home doing homework every single night, everything in between. Like the busiest people you could imagine, this is work for. And it doesn't matter where you live, if you're far away from the ocean, doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter if you're starting as a beginner surfer in your 30s or 40s or 50s. This stuff is universal. Paddle training works on everyone because it's like you surfed every day. There'll never be a session where you don't need to paddle. Breath training works on only people who have lungs. So if you have lungs, there'll never be a session in your surfing where you don't need great control of your breath, great oxygen efficiency. And the surfing patterns, again, are universal. You're always gonna have to pop up, duck dive, turtle roll, have balance, all those things. So it will never be outdated. There isn't a person on the planet it won't work for. It'll follow you for your progression for every single stage of your life. I give this stuff to people who are complete beginners, like literally can't even catch a wave, and to big wave surfers in Hawaii. And they all kill it. It's so insane to watch because like I said, it's never outdated. It follows you forever. I've been doing versions of this stuff for a decade now, and it never gets old because it's passion based. And I like to say, if you struggle with motivation, surfing training has a built-in reward system, which is catching more waves. Catching more waves feels great. Emotional energy, that's real energy, and that goes to fuel your next workout. So when it's time to work out, you don't have to drag yourself because you're like, yes, I know this is gonna give me more waves. It's motivating. So it pulls you like a magnet. So instead of using willpower to push yourself like you're pushing a rock up a hill in order to get this new healthy routine, you're being pulled by your love for surfing. It's so much easier. It's just like, it's not even comparable. It's not even the same thing at all. One thing we always aim for is momentum. So momentum, hard to get in the beginning, easier to keep. And then so when you get to a stage of this training and it becomes your regular routine, it becomes more painful to skip a workout than it is to actually do the workout. So for me, if I don't do my stretches, if I do my workouts, I don't feel the same. I don't feel good. So I'm pulled by a magnet into this healthy lifestyle, which is an incredible, powerful place to be. So like I said, in the beginning, momentum is hardest to get, but that's why we front load it with paddle training. It gets the fastest results in the shortest amount of time. It's like you surfed every day. So it's typical for people to feel stronger within the first 7 days. If you can bring 7 days of motivation to this, if you have 20 minutes a day, you can immediately start feeling better in the ocean, get that emotional reward, get more waves, get past the break easier, and then you're on that momentum train. You never get it off. You never get off. And then you reach surfing the heights you were meant to. So instead of being stuck in plateaus, you can decide where you take your surfing. Big surf trip coming up, hammer a little, put in a little more extra work so you can surf 3 sessions a day for 10 days. Big swell's coming, winter's coming, prepare a little bit more. Or if like you know you're not gonna be surfing for a bit, dial it back, just focus on the stretching, or whatever you choose. Like you get to choose your surfing destiny by knowing what to forget, and only all that leaves is what you focus on. So if you're interested in this kind of training, a couple of things. I cannot instill a desire inside you. The only thing you need to bring is a desire to surf better. You gotta got a passion for surfing, you gotta have a desire to surf better. If you have those 2 things, I guarantee we can take care of the rest. And I actually mean guarantee. We're offering something now that I call the Fast Forever Guarantee. If you give me 30 days, I guarantee you double your wave count or you get it all for free. Or if there's any point in your entire life, this is a lifetime guarantee, where if you do exactly as we say, and you follow it forever, and for some reason you stop surfing because you're out of shape, you'll get a complete refund. Guaranteed for life, you have the best surfing and you're never out of shape if you do it like we say it. That's how reliable this stuff is. We've proven it over and over, all over the world, thousands of surfers, and it just keeps coming back with the exact same results. So like I said, you bring a passion, you bring a desire to surf better, guarantee whatever your surfing goals are, they're within your control to reach them. So if you're into that, down below this video in the description, there's a link. Through that link, you'll get access to a training video called 3 Steps to Thousands of Waves. It explains our process completely and it shows you how you can get involved with it if you choose to do so. So go watch that free training. And then if you like what you see, book a call to talk with me or one of my coaches, and you can become our next success story in the Waterman Elite program. I hope to see you on the inside. So if you like this kind of video, all you got to do is like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.